right, so here we are at Ocean Point on the intermediate wave exposure transect. And on this transect, you can see the lowest zone that we have, that we're measuring here, is the chondrus crispus zone. And that is, again, that bright green, because it's heat stress. It likes to be submerged by the tide. And as we move up in the intertidal, we're gonna see some fucus. We have 3 species of fucus. And here is some fucus disticus. And you can see the ends are forming gametes, they're swelling. And then we're starting to see a mix of organisms that appear in this intermediate wave exposure site. So you can already see that the community structure is different. Underneath this canopy are some red algae, Mastocarpus stellatus. You'll get to know this organism quite well. And we have some Ulva lactuca, we have some barnacles. So there's a nice mix of organisms in this intermediate wave exposure site. And as we move a little further up, let me get the other side.
Yep.
We're gonna start to find some other organisms. We're moving up into different fucus. Whoops, a little slippery. And if we look at the fucus overall, it's a much wider, expansive fucus than at the higher wave exposed site. And that's, again, an action of wave exposure and physiological limits that are pushing these organisms. We also will find some more organisms, some more mobile consumers. If we look underneath the canopy, we find, oh yeah, here, this is great. We find on the rocks, we find the barnacles, and we're also finding these whelks, Nucella lapillus. You'll get to know this organism quite well. These are also nicknamed the barnacle drill. So this is their food, and you'll find, wherever you find barnacles, well, that's not true, wherever you find these, you find barnacles, because this is their food. And let's look at a Nucella lapillus, pull it off the rock. And you can see that it's got this little groove here, a siphonal groove, and that's distinctive of a whelk. So we'll put it back to let it keep eating. We'll do another video on them in a little while. So this intermediate wave exposure location has much more diversity. The zones are less distinct in this area. Now we're at the top of the fucus, Fucus spiralis. And then again, we have barnacles, bare rock, and the top of our zone, the top of our transect is our calothrix zone, which is the blue-green algae. And that marks the top end of the splash zone for this area. And you can see that the calothrix zone is less expansive here than in the higher wave exposed site. So that's indicative of this location as well. So again, this is the intermediate wave exposure. The zones are more mixed. We have a wide band of fucus. We still have our chondrus down in the low end, and the community structure is different here.